Fallout 4 just got a unexpected and very exciting announcement this morning from Bethesda. And this comes from their most recent blog post for the Fallout 25th anniversary, which is sort of like their conclusion post for everything that is coming for the 25th anniversary. And while there is no Fallout 3 or New Vegas remake, there was indeed a subtle little announcement of Fallout 4's next update, as the game will be receiving a next-gen update, or rather a current-gen update, in 2023, which will be an entirely free update, thankfully, and will be available for Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PlayStation 5, and PC, which of course includes Steam, GOG, Epic, and PC Game Pass. And the update itself is apparently going to include performance mode features for high frame rates, quality features for 4K resolution gameplay, bug fixes, and even bonus Creation Club content. So this seems almost like an anniversary edition for Fallout 4, which for those of you that don't recall, the anniversary edition upgrade was indeed paid for Skyrim, but the anniversary update itself was indeed free. But for Fallout 4, there doesn't seem to be a paid component, which I find interesting. Now, there are some specifics that I want to get into with some of the things that are going to be included in this update, especially with how it's going to affect PC in regards to some of the features that could be included, as well as some of the negative side effects it's going to have for modding. So the first thing I really want to touch on is the mention of high frame rates as well as quality features for 4K. As for those of you that don't know, right now on PS5, I believe the resolution is 1440p and it's capped at 30 FPS. And for Xbox Series X, it's currently 4K 30, but you can actually increase that to 4K 60 using FPS Boost. So the platform that's going to be seeing the largest benefit here is of course the PlayStation 5, as it's running at 1440p 30 right now, so we'll likely be seeing that brought up to 4K 60. But of course that's for 4K gameplay, and they specifically noted that there's going to be performance mode features for high frame rates. So the way that I view this would be that we're seeing frame rates above 60, which is a much bigger deal than you might realize, as even on PC right now, the frame rate is capped at 60. And if you manually remove that, you're going to break the game, as the physics and timescale are actually tied to the frame rate. So on PC, if you're wanting to uncap the frame rate for Fallout 4, you actually need to install a mod called the High FPS Physics Fix. So if we're actually seeing a high frame rate update for this game, we could be seeing them finally address this for Fallout 4. Now, of course, this is very hopeful thinking. This is something that they haven't addressed for any of their games other than Fallout 76, if you want to count that. It wasn't really fixed, rather they tied the issues to the server rather than the player. So Fallout 4 would be the first game to have this fix included. Of course, this could just be referring to unlocking 60 FPS across the board for both platforms, as you need FPS boost enabled on Xbox Series X to enable 60 FPS, and PS5 straight up does not have 60 FPS support. So this could be simply referring to that, which would be very unfortunate, but hopefully if that's the case, we at least get some form of performance optimization for the game, as there are some major performance issues with this game, even on the Xbox Series, which has the 4K 60 mode. Now, as for the quality features for 4K gameplay that they mentioned, I'd imagine this has to do with the ultra high resolution texture pack potentially coming to consoles to improve the overall texture quality. Something else that I think that they could be doing, but is definitely a lot less likely, is bringing technologies like DLSS and FSR 2.0 to the PC version of the game, which would dramatically improve the performance for 4K gameplay and would honestly be a game changer for Fallout 4 on PC. So the next thing, of course, is bug fixes, which could either be them just addressing some larger game-breaking issues, or it could be a massive long list of bug fixes, much like the unofficial patch. As we all know, Bethesda has a bad reputation when it comes to actually fixing their games post-launch, and I feel like this would be a nice little bit of fan service if they actually went through and fixed a lot of the issues with the game, because there are a lot. One thing, for example, that I would really love to see addressed for PC specifically is fixing the launcher option for disabling God Rays, which has been broken since launch and doesn't allow you to actually disable it through the launcher. It automatically resets each and every time. There's a lot of frustrating things that haven't been fixed in this game, so again, I'm glad I'm on PC. I'm glad I have the unofficial patch, as I don't know if I could live without it. And for that reason, I really do hope that they address more than just a handful of issues, which, since they noted bug fixes specifically, I would assume that there is going to be a decent amount. And the last thing, of course, is the bonus Creation Club content, which I believe will be fresh new content added to the game. It could be some small little gameplay features, sort of like we saw with the Anniversary Edition, which added fishing and a few other pieces of little content, which I think would be a nice little way to freshen up Fallout 4 if it was adding some sort of tiny little feature like that. Of course, while all these updates and additions to the game would be awesome, even if it is just a small little next-gen or current-gen patch, which would mainly improve things for console players rather than PC players, there are some negative side effects that we need to discuss for when this update will inevitably launch in 2023. As I'm sure many of you have become accustomed to with my Skyrim AE update videos, large updates like this can have some pretty catastrophic effects on the mod community. And depending on the changes that actually come with this update, things could be not that bad, in which the Fallout 4 script extender and address library just need a simple update, and then you're good to go. Or it could end up a lot like the launch of the Anniversary Edition, which for those of you that don't recall, the main issue with the Anniversary Edition was the fact that it recompiled the game's executable using a new version of Visual Studio, which required sections of the script extender and address library to be rewritten, which resulted in every mod depending on them requiring their own individual manual updates by the mod authors. And in many cases, it required those mod authors to rewrite parts of their mod. Of course, not every mod author is going to want to update all their previous mods to support the latest version, and some mod authors have left the community entirely. One example of this is the dynamic animation replacer for Skyrim Special Edition, which has not received an update for the Anniversary Edition, and it doesn't look like it's ever going to. And for those of you that don't know, there are a lot of mods that require the dynamic animation replacer. So essentially, all of those mods got washed away with a singular update. So while there's a good amount of positives about this update, and overall I think that people should be happy that Bethesda is going back and updating a game that's 7 years old and doing it for free, not trying to pull a Skyrim on us, there is the negative domino effect that this is going to have on the mod community, as I can almost guarantee that Fallout 4 will be recompiled using a updated version of Visual Studio, therefore breaking Fallout 4 script extender and the address library, and therefore every mod that depends on them. So while I don't want this to be a doom and gloom moment, as this update could be very exciting, even for PC players if they are actually going the extra mile and bringing some extra PC features to the game, such as an uncapped frame rate, DLSS, if they're doing that sort of thing, then I think the negative side effects that this update has will be worth it. But if all PC players are seeing in terms of a benefit or some bug fixes and bonus Creation Club content, I think this will end up a lot like the Skyrim Anniversary Edition update, where a lot of people have just been very frustrated with Bethesda updating the game. As with those updates, there hasn't really been anything of value for PC players. It's been mostly an inconvenience when it comes to managing mods. Of course, we don't have all the details on what this update will include. We don't actually know for a fact that it will be recompiled using a updated version of Visual Studio, and I'm simply suggesting that you prepare for this update if you do have a modded game on PC. I don't think this will affect the console mods, sort of like the Anniversary Edition did for Skyrim, as that was mainly due to a bug that Bethesda introduced with that update. So any negative side effect will be mostly aimed at PC players. So if you have a heavily modded game, I suggest keeping a lookout for this update and ensuring your game doesn't auto-update when it comes around. Of course, if the update is as devastating as I think it will be for the mod community, I think something like a downgrade patcher will be inevitable, in which case I'll be sure to cover that when we get there. But I'd love to know your thoughts on the things coming in the future of Fallout 4. I think it could be interesting to see the future details on this update. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes and ears open, and we'll post a video if we get anything meaningful. And while that's all I have to share about the future of Fallout 4, if you want to know all about the future of CD Projekt Red and all the insane things that they're working on, you can find my video on that subject on screen. But that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, this is Apoqsi, signing off.